global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. Of course, a few days ago, we saw the drama that took place between Wike, the FCT minister, and the lieutenant colonel, the naval officer. Of course, it divided the nation into different parts. Most Nigerians believe that it's actually Wike's fault that they are demanding an apology to the military and to the young boy, while others believe that no, constitutionally it is very wrong, that the military have no right to interface with the issues that has to do with domestic issues that has to do with police jurisdiction and the FCT. Some of them believe that the military or our security armed forces should be under every ministerial position or every government official. A whole lot of divergent opinions came up, but apparently, while Nigerians are busy trying to tell or decide who is right or who is wrong constitutionally, the Senate are busy doing the imaginable or the unimaginable. Let's dive into the news proper to find out exactly what the Senate is about to play out. But most Nigerians believe that this move will spell doom for the government of the day, while others believe that this move will not spell doom, but rather will correct the excesses of the armed forces. Let's find out in a moment. According to what we gathered, the Nigerian Senate has raised a bill to make the armed forces, as the Army, Navy, and Air Force, subject to civil rule and subject to every democratically appointed and elected officials, like, say, the governors, the ministers, the president, and every other person that is either elected and appointed by democratically. Now, they want the Senate to amend the military. I take that again. They want the Senate to amend the military law that gives them that power to say a military man is only answerable to his superior or the president only. Now, like in the case of Wike and Yerima as a soldier or a naval officer must be subject to directives from a minister and should not be able to disobey the order of the minister, because we are not in the military era again, they say. Now, this is democracy, and soldiers must be subject and answerable to democratic rule and government officials. Some are saying, wow, fingers are really crossed. Let us see how far they can go with this bill. Well, the law is above all. Once this bill is passed, the military will have no option than to obey the law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Nigerians are talking. The internet is buzzing. My colleague is. But what do you make of all of this?
Well, it's good enough for us to look at more details of that particular bill, because it goes beyond, just those few, the issue of amendment and all of that. Now, first of all, the issue of judicial review of military conviction was part of it, where conviction from military tribunal would be subjected to review by civil court, promoting fairness, transparency, and adherence to constitutional due process. And this will further address long-standing concerns about the opacity of military justice. In other words, when they take anyone to their military tribunal, pass any judgment on such a fellow, that judgment can also undergo review by a civil court. You understand? So that was one of the things also comes in. And also they are looking at placing a ban on underage recruitment. They say that enlistment of anyone under 18 years old into the armed forces will be prohibited, because sometimes when you see some of these boys, who are part of the military, they look too young, to be part of it. But we don't know if they have, Nigerian military have for any reason absorb someone who is below the age, and that will be contrary to the Child Rights Act of 2003 and the UN Convention on the Right of a Child and the African Charter on the Right and Welfare of a Child. So the move is they are trying to seek to end the practice of recruiting soldiers, and also The one that have really brought this bill to the public is this issue of civilian oversight and command structure. And the intent here, the military, they want the military to be explicitly placed under the authority of the commander-in-chief, who is democratically elected president, and civilian institution with clearer chain of command to prevent self-governance. That's one of the things they are trying to do. But then, looking at the implication of this bill, they call it Nigerian Senate Armed Forces. They are trying to repeal, the Armed Forces bill that was subsisting and, bring in a new one. Now, the implication of this is that the military will no longer operate under the 1960 era decree, but under a law passed by elected lawmakers, which, in other words, will reinforce the principle that the armed forces are now subordinate. I say it again, they will now become subordinate to civilian authority. So which means a civilian can command them. As far as the civilian is in authority, he can command them anyhow. The Oga can say, none of you should go to this place. Civilian can come and say, by the authority vested on me based on a Nigerian Armed Forces Act of 2025, I command you to move. And he must move. So somehow, civilian, that's as far. What I mean civilian, before now, it was only the president that has authority. But right now, if there is any constituted body, a governor has the power to move them. Now, apart from the governor, even a chairman,
my God,
you understand, is as bad as that. A chairman has the right, to control them. And, this will bring a lot of control in the military. Though a lot of people say there will be civil and military relationship and all of that, but the implication for the military may not sound so good. Now, most Nigerians have been talking about why it really matters, and why it matters. They are trying to see how they can break the military to prevent military autonomy or overreach, especially in a country with a history of coup, because Oga can summon the boy, say, I'm the only person to control you guys. Do like this. And even if somebody is in the know, the person has no power to control them. So if I give you instruction and you decline, for example, I'm a governor, I'm a minister, and I give you instruction to do like this, based on, as far as it's not an illegal instruction, and I want you to do like this, and you decline doing it, automatically it is considered criminal. And you'll be charged to court, you will be penalized, based on the provision of this constitution when it is finally being passed. Now, you talked about the issue of the president may likely not sign the bill. Don't forget that if the president refuses to assent to the bill presented before him, what they will do is to take it back to the floor of the House, 2/10 majority of the House. If they decide to vote in favor of that bill, it will be passed into law. So the intention already, the democratic leaders in Nigeria, they want to have full control. They want to break the military. They want to make sure that at the end of the day, at least whatever we are doing right now will go extra mile in reducing, number one, the risk of military interference in politics and align Nigeria with global democratic, norms. Even the issue of child soldier recruitment, its consequences are there, and it will go an extra mile in protecting the vulnerable children, improve Nigerian global human rights standing, and may further reduce long-term trauma in military community. And I love the fact that the issue of their outcome of their trial will also be viewed by civil courts. You know why? Especially as it has to do with some women who are crying out right now about the fact that they are being oppressed. If the military tribunal try it in favor of the gas, she will drag it to the civil court. That this was the verdict, and at the end of the day, they will go through it based on the provision of the constitution. No, not based on the military act again.
We're not looking at the fact that what if we are seeing what is happening in judiciary right now. Imagine after all that has been done. Look at our electoral process. After all the voting, these elites don't even disturb themselves. Or they know that in the court, in tribunal, we'll get back our mandate. Mm-hmm. Now, if they bring this to the military, don't you think it will a lot of things will be distorted? Now, one loyal guy or one young boy who is loyal to one civilian who is in government can decide to make a mess of a general. Imagine a situation when you have an issue with your general and you court-martial the person, or you take it to their normal court proceedings. After the general have gotten his verdict, the young soldier takes this matter to a civilian court and it takes the day. It's going to look, I don't know what they're doing, but let's just hope that they know exactly what they're doing in all of this.
But I think if this bill is passed into law, it will be the most significant military law amendment. And I know that right now the military will do everything. And I have a lot of fears right now. The first one is the fact that may this not awaken some consciousness that we may not like. Because when they wanted to be a part of governance, a situation whereby, you're a civilian, you're a minister, your power ends there. Me too, I have my own power. We are part of leadership, even in democratic setting. Yes. But a situation whereby you're subjecting us even to the point of our generals. Because based on this whole thing, even chief of defense staff can instruct his people that don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And you as a civilian, you can also go there and say, by the power vested on me, this is what you must do, this is what you must do, this is what you must do. So there's going to be clash of powers at the end of the day.
I hope they know what they do. Please, we still need Nigeria intact. That's a good wrap it.